everybody, and welcome back to Cooking It Real. If you're new here, my name is Kathy, and I'm so glad you could join me in the kitchen. Do you love a delicious and hearty split pea soup? I sure do. And today, I'm going to show you not only how to make it, but how to pressure can it so that you can have it on your pantry shelf all year long. What's even more exciting is that this video is going to be part of an open collaboration put on by Constance of Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I will link her channel below. The collaboration is called March Canning Madness. And if you're a basketball fan, you know what that means. Now, before I begin, I want to say that you do not have to pressure can this recipe. You can make it just as I show it, and you can eat it tonight. So let's take a look at the ingredients. Now, because I'm going to be canning this soup, I'm doubling the recipe, but feel free to double, triple, or even bring it down to just one single recipe for your needs. We're going to start with our stock. If you were with me last week, you saw that I made some corned beef and cabbage, and I advised you, if possible, to save the stock. That's what we're going to be using today. I'm going to need 16 cups of stock or water. Next, we have our green split peas. I have two 1-pound bags of green split peas, and I'm going to show you how we're going to prepare those in just a minute. I have 5 good-sized carrots. I need about 2 to 3 cups of chopped up carrots. I have a great big onion. I have some leftover corned beef from my corned beef and cabbage. If you don't have corned beef, you can use ham. In fact, a lot of times people use ham in this soup. Then we have our seasonings. We're going to make a bouquet garni, and to that we are going to add some bay leaves, peppercorns, mustard seed, allspice berries, whole cloves, and a couple cloves of garlic. We also need some cheesecloth and string. That's it. Now, if you're going to be canning, you will also need your canner, your canning jars, your lids, your rings, and all the other equipment. But as far as to make the soup, this is all you need. We're going to prep our split peas just the same way we would prep any dried beans or dried peas. I find the easiest thing to do is to just put them out on a sheet tray and just sort of quickly go over them. Make sure you don't find anything weird like any kind of rocks or anything that looks off or wrong. Sometimes in green split peas, you'll find some yellow split peas. That doesn't really bother me. Those look pretty good. I'm going to put those into a colander. Check the next pound of beans. That looks good too. Into the colander. And we're going to give these a quick rinse. Have some nice cool water. Just give these a rinse. These do not have to be soaked overnight or anything like that. They go straight into the pot once you've given them a quick rinse. And I need 16 cups of stock or water. I have 12 here, 4 more here. No, I had 8 there, 4 here. That's 12. I need 4 more cups, so I'm going to use water. Okay, let's get that going. And now we're going to make our bouquet garni. This bouquet garni has a lot of the same flavorings that I used in my corned beef and cabbage the other day. And the stock right now has some of those flavors, but I just want to give it an extra little boost. So I'm going to start with, I've got 3 bay leaves, 1 big one, 2 little ones. I've got about a 1/4 teaspoon of peppercorns, a little bit more of that of mustard seed. I've got 7 allspice berries. If you don't have allspice berries, you can just put a little bit of allspice, ground allspice, into the stock. I've got maybe 10 or so cloves and 3 cloves of garlic that I smashed. So everyone into the pool. Whoops, get in there, you. There we go. No escapees. Okay. And we're going to tie this up. And this time I have kind of a long piece of string because when these peas start cooking, they're going to be kind of thick, and so I don't want to have to fish this out. If I have the string hanging off to the side, out of the pot, it'll make it much easier to retrieve this at the end. Okay, so there's our bouquet, nice long string. Let's get it in the pot. Okay, I have my pot on high. I'm going to drop my bouquet right in there. I'm going to tie it off just very lightly to the handle. Okay, see the peas in there? When this comes up to a boil, we're going to reduce it down to simmer, and we're going to cook it for 1 hour. Okay, it came up to a boil, and I've already turned it down. I had a bit of a boil over. Oh, I hate that when that happens, but hey, we're cooking it real, and that's what sometimes happens. So we got a little foam on the top. I'm just going to skim that off. There we go. No big deal. All right, and we're going to put the lid back on and keep it at a gentle simmer like this for 1 hour or until the peas are tender. I'm going to keep the lid ajar. There we go. While the split peas are simmering, I took the time to prepare the vegetables that we're going to put into this soup. Those 5 carrots, I peeled and cut them into coins, and in the big sections, I cut them into smaller pieces. That turned out to be about 3 cups of carrots. I used that 1 big onion, which turned out to be 2 cups of chopped onion. And this is the corned beef that I had left over from my corned beef and cabbage video, and it turned out to be about 2 cups. Let's just talk for a second about how else you can prepare this soup if you don't have corned beef broth. You can use a ham broth. You can use another kind of pork broth. You can use just plain water. You can use a veggie broth. You can use water with some bouillon in it. Really, the sky's the limit. It's whatever you have on hand, whatever you like, whatever you want to use, you do you. I will say, though, that you want to make sure that the meat that you're putting into it is cooked. You don't have to add meat at all. You don't even have to add veggies at all. But you do want to make sure that the meat is cooked, whether it is corned beef, whether it is ham, whether it is pulled pork, roast pork, chicken, whatever it is. Just make sure that it's cooked, and you'll have a most delicious soup. All right, let's take a look. Ooh. Oh, that smells great. All right. It has been an hour. I'm going to turn this off for right now. Let's see. Oh, look how thick that is. Can you see? Awesome. You know, I didn't mention this earlier, but I'm going to mention it now. While this is simmering, every 15 minutes or so, go in and give it a stir. Just make sure that there's nothing sticking to the bottom or anything like that. All right, now we're going to very gently, because it's hot, untie this string and take out our, ooh, that's hot. Take out our seasoning mix, our little bouquet garni. All right, thank you for your service, my friend. Here we go. And that just gets discarded. Let's take another look at this. Ooh, beautiful. Now, we're going to use our immersion blender and blend this up. If you don't have an immersion blender, you can always do it in batches in a regular blender. And how much you blend it is really up to you. If you want a super, super nice and smooth soup, just blend the heck out of it. But if you don't mind a little bit of texture, then you can leave some of those split peas in, but they're pretty soft. All right. What is that, like less than a minute? That's perfect for me. Oh, perfect. All right. I'm going to turn that back on, get my veggies and meat. Carrots. It's about 2 cups of onion. Everyone into the pool. And my almost 2 cups of corned beef. We're going to bring that back to a boil. We're going to reduce it down to a good simmer, and we're going to simmer that for another 30 minutes. At that point, our soup is done. Ta-da! You can eat it right then, or I'm going to show you how to get ready for canning. Okay, if y'all are canners, you know what I'm going to say. Always go with your manufacturer directions about how to prep for canning. I have a Presto pressure canner here, and I have already checked my seal and made sure that it looked good. I've checked to make sure that my vent hole has light coming out of it, so I know it's not clogged. Per the manufacturer's directions, I have put 3 quarts of water in the bottom and I've started to heat it up. We're going to be doing what they call a hot pack. So we're going to make hot split pea soup, go into the canning jars, and then we're going to go from there. So that's just nice and warm. My canning jars have been washed in the dishwasher and I am holding them in a sink full of very hot water. We're going to fill our hot canning jars with our hot split pea soup, and we're going to leave an inch of headspace at the top of the jar. Now we want to take our tool and debubble each jar to remove any air pockets. Then take a piece of paper towel dipped in vinegar and wipe each and every rim of each and every jar to remove any debris or fat or anything that might hinder the seal. Place a brand new canning lid on each jar, and then we're going to put on our canning rings. The rings will hold the canning lids in place during canning process, and they'll be removed for storage. You want to tighten them no more than you can tighten with 2 fingers and a thumb. It's called fingertip tight. You don't want to crank down on them. I'm taking a minute to just wipe off the bottoms and sides of the jars. There was a lot of ploppage with this soup, and I didn't want to put the dirty jars into my canner. I'm using my jar lifter to hold them while I wipe it because remember, these jars and the soup inside them are so hot. Now all that's left to do is to load the jars into the canner. Let's put on our lid and seal it shut and wait for the steam to build. Once you've built up a full head of steam, you want to let it go full bore for 10 full minutes. Put the weight on, and once it comes up to recommended pressure, at my altitude that would be between 10 and 11 pounds, we're going to do pints for 75 minutes. After the pressure has come down to 0 naturally, you can remove the jars from the canner. Place them on a towel and leave them to sit for 24 hours. My favorite part, tasting. Now I might have been able to fit this into another pint jar. I don't think I had enough room in my canner, which is just as well because I can't wait to taste this for you. Now, I added a little bit of water to this when I warmed it up, so let's see how it tastes. Make sure I get a little bit of carrot, a little bit of corned beef. Oh, that's good. Thick, rich. The carrots give it a sweetness. There's a depth of flavor to this. I definitely think that when you warm your soup up, you need to add, especially if you have it stored in the fridge, you need to add a little water. Now remember, I'm going to list Cosmopolitan Cornbread information in the link below. And if you have a YouTube channel and you do canning or an Instagram, all you have to do is just tag March Canning Madness, hashtag March Canning Madness, and you're part of the group. I love it. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, everybody, and I hope to see you next time on Cooking It Real. Bye-bye.